Hi, this is Joel Johnson. Welcome to our YouTube channel here at Johnson Brunetti. Before we move on, I want to make sure that you subscribe to our channel. So go ahead and click subscribe and click on the little bell so you get notified anytime we upload new and valuable content. Today, we are talking about spring cleaning, financial spring cleaning, getting your house in order. We have to do this every once in a while because if you're like anything like me, you sort of have things pile up, whether it's in my home office, whether it's in drawers and so on. We all kind of have this financial junk drawer, right? Like the junk drawer in our kitchen, it just sort of gathers things, screwdrivers and knives and X-Acto knives and rubber bands and paper clips and just all kinds of stuff that goes into that junk drawer. And every once in a while, if we want to keep ourselves sane, we've got to clean that junk drawer out. Well, it's kind of the same thing with all our financial records and so on. So we want to talk today about the importance of feeling relief and feeling organized with your financial life. And one of the ways that we can do that is just really just declutter from all the things that are causing us to maybe feel a little disorganized. So first of all, let's talk about being organized. In this day and age where we've got all kinds of digital resources and so on, it's not like the old days where we had to keep checkbooks for, check ledgers for 3 or 5 years, or we had to keep financial statements for 3, 5, 10 years. My dad used to have these drawers full of financial statements, going back probably 10 or 15 years. It's not necessary anymore because we live in the digital age and most of our records are online in a secured fashion that we can get to. So, it's interesting at my house, we have accounts, we have investment accounts at Fidelity, and my wife doesn't want to throw any paper statements away and she wants to continue to get the paper statements. So we have in our home office, in our den, we have drawers full of statements going back 10 years. I try to throw something away, she catches me and puts it back in there. There's no reason to do that in this day and age. You can go ahead and keep those things digitally. And a lot of these institutions also, if it's a giant bank or a big investment firm, they have a number of different ways to access your information should there be any kind of a situation where a server goes down. So I don't think that's necessary at all. So we want to declutter here. What are some of the things we can declutter? Well, first of all, we mentioned financial statements and bank records. You'd only need to keep things back for the past statements and so on for maybe 3 years or so. The IRS says once you file a tax return, you've got to keep records for 3 years after you file the return. So if you're on extension, the 3-year clock starts ticking at that point where you filed. If you are a business owner, if you have other issues like you've had casualty losses or anything like that, and you put those on your tax returns, then you need to keep records for 7 years. But again, these records can be in digital form. It doesn't have to be a bunch of paper that's taking up space in your house. What are some of the other things we want to keep? Well, investment statements, tax records, like I said. We want to get rid of old wills. You've got to get rid of old wills because if you have old wills sitting around and something happens to you, what if somebody grabs that old will instead of the new one and they present it to the attorney or to the probate court? You might end up having the wrong thing settled and going against your wishes. So you've got to get rid of some of those old wills. Trusts. We have now as a family redone our estate planning 3 times, and if you have that old stuff sitting around in that binder, that old trust, you could have, again, the same problem I mentioned with wills, where you have somebody, when you die, turn in the wrong thing and process through the wrong thing. So get rid of all those things. 401k statements, sometimes, this is a little bit counterintuitive to what I'm saying, I'm talking about decluttering, but sometimes you've actually got old 401ks or old pension that you've lost track of. It might be small accounts. You were in your 40s and you said, oh, forget about it, I don't need to worry about this account, I'll get to it later. And you've forgotten it, or they've lost your address. They haven't followed you as you've moved, and sometimes those accounts have been turned over to the state. So try to make a list or an inventory of old accounts and so on. But the key here is we want to declutter and feel organized. There's a tremendous amount of peace of mind that comes when we are more organized. So let's go through the list here, and we'll talk about a few specific things. One is all your records. What records do you need? What records don't you need? I don't think you need to keep all your receipts. My father-in-law did this. When he passed away, he had literally a room in his house full of every receipt going back 30 years. Not necessary anymore, all right? If you've used a credit card or a debit card, you have the receipts. If you've paid with an electronic check or something like that, they have the records. So you don't need to keep all those receipts. Outdated Social Security estimates. So get rid of those Social Security estimates. Again, if I pass away before my wife Wendy, which statistically will probably happen, and I've got a bunch of old stuff, she's going to end up bringing all that stuff in to our financial advisor, which is my firm, since I managing partner here at the firm, and that person's going to have to sort through all this old stuff. So get rid of old statements on Social Security and pensions. Make sure you have the most recent one. Estate plans, we talked about that a little bit. And by the way, while we're talking about estate planning, one of the best ways to declutter your life going forward is redo that estate plan if your wishes have changed. You probably have grandkids. Maybe you didn't have grandkids when you did that original estate plan, or maybe you're getting close to having grandkids. Maybe your feelings about different children have changed, the way they spend money. Sometimes we don't agree with that. So make sure you update your estate plan, and then when you do that, get rid of the old estate plan. Consolidate accounts. This is a big one. We have folks that either watch this YouTube channel, come in from our television show, from the radio program, from the podcast. They'll come in, they'll want us to build a financial plan for them, and they have 5 401k accounts. They've got 3 IRAs. Maybe their partner or spouse has 2 or 3 401k accounts. We do this financial plan, and it's got 15 accounts on it, and it really only needs 4 accounts. So declutter from that standpoint. Get rid of some of those extra accounts. Simplification is really key. You know, there's a quote out there, I'm not sure if it was Warren Buffett or somebody else, that says, "Genius is in simplicity." Geniuses understand how to simplify things. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I like the idea of simplifying things. So consolidate accounts, put accounts together. It's a lot easier to get a financial picture of your situation, and quite frankly, it's a lot easier for your financial advisor to manage fewer accounts. Because sometimes you'll be ignoring that small account, right? Which isn't necessarily that small. If you have a 401k with $800,000 in it, your partner or spouse has a 401k with $600,000 in it, and then you've got this other account over here with $80,000. You might be ignoring that $80,000 account, yet $80,000 is a pretty good chunk of money. So make sure you're consolidating those accounts. A few other tips. Maybe you want to declutter the people you listen to for financial advice. You know, some of us, not me certainly, but we've had folks that we talk to that come in for that second opinion that we offer, where they're listening to advice from, 5 different people that have radio programs, 3 of their, children, maybe one of their kids works at a bank, so they're listening to that advice. Maybe they watch a TV program that gives different advice. Maybe they read 3 or 4 different books, and they're just being bombarded with different advice from different channels. That is not good. That is not healthy. Find a couple people you trust, get rid of the rest. Again, you will feel so good if you go into retirement, or if you get close to retirement and you've got your life on simple, on cruise control, on automatic pilot. And you can do that. The best, the most wealthy people in the world that have the best financial advisors, they tend to err towards simplicity because they want to go into retirement without worrying about their money. In my opinion is you should not be obsessed with your money as you get close to retirement or as you get into retirement. You should be enjoying your life, using the money as a tool, almost an afterthought. And that sounds kind of counterintuitive coming from somebody that's a managing partner of a financial advisory firm. But I believe that in retirement, money should be so far down on the list that you don't worry about it. And how do you not worry about it? By decluttering and also working with good advisors. So thanks for being with us today on the Johnson Brunetti YouTube channel. Again, make sure you click to subscribe to this channel. Click on the little bell so you get updates on when we've loaded new content up. We appreciate you being with us today.